I'm going to show you effective ways to actually follow up. So what I mean by following up is you're not going to use the word follow up when the prospect answers, but let's say that you talk to a lead or whatever for your industry, or maybe it was a cold call that was a lead, or could have been inbound, outbound, doesn't really matter. And for whatever reason, you might have spoken to them once or twice, or maybe you're in B2B and you had a 6-month sales cycle with them and they just kind of went MIA, missing in action. How do you follow up with them weeks or months later and actually get them to let their guard down, okay? To actually have another conversation. So in these examples that I'm showing you, this is you've already talked with the prospect, you've already had a discovery call or conversations or appointments or whatever you do, okay? B2C, B2B, doesn't matter, B2G, but for whatever reason they just didn't buy, and now you're following up. Now, let me show you the way most salespeople have been trained so you avoid some of these trigger words, okay? In other training, I've showed you that, okay? Wrong way is something like this. Hi, is Mary there? Mary, hey, it's James Miller, just following up with you. I know we talked a few months ago because you guys were interested in my blank. Do you have a few minutes we can talk? Or something like that, okay? Never use the words following up, okay, circling back. I'm just circling back with you. I'm just checking in, okay? Because think about this for a second. Do your prospects know what those words actually mean? Likely. How many salespeople that have tried to sell you something that you didn't buy send you an email or call you and say, I'm just following up, I'm just checking in, I'm just circling back? See, those are trigger words. And so when you hear those words, just like your prospects when they hear those words that all salespeople use, you go into survive, like fight or flight mode. Okay, you go to like surface level, you try to protect yourself, your brain goes in defensive mode, the sales resistance comes. So I want to actually trigger them to let their guard down. I want to cause them to let their guard down, because if you can't get them to let their guard down, it's unlikely this conversation is going to go anywhere, let alone last more than a minute or two, okay? And instead of saying, you talked with us about blank that you were interested in, it's almost like you're qualifying to them now rather than them qualifying to you, because after all, who has the problems? You or the prospect, okay? The prospect has the problem. You have the solution to solve the problem. So we're going to teach you how to get them to qualify to you, okay? So never use this. Now, let me show you, first of all, I'm going to show you a generic way to do this, okay? Now, this is just a generic format, so I want to make sure you take notes. This is a writer-downer for you. And then I picked, I think I picked about 8 or 9 different industries, so that have nothing to do with each other, that you can actually follow to see how that format works. Now, the important thing that you want to do when you follow up with the lead, okay, is you want to interrupt their pattern. Okay, so let me write this down here. This is called a pattern interrupt. Okay, so write this down. So writer downer. Okay, pattern interrupt. So what is a pattern interrupt and why should you use it? Well, remember, your brain, just like your prospect's brain, reads patterns. So you're used to patterns, okay? So when you feel like somebody's trying to sell you something because you recognize the pattern, okay, instantly your guard goes up, okay? So I have to interrupt that pattern where the prospect's brain doesn't know what's going on, where it's almost like it doesn't quite understand. It's almost confused, which triggers curiosity. Okay, that's called a pattern interrupt, okay? We'll go into this a little bit detail. So first of all, I want to have a familiar tone. If you've looked at some of our other trainings, we talked about the 5 types of tonalities you have to master, and there are subcategories of each of those tone. And one of those subcategories, I've showed you a little bit in this training portal, is a familiar tone, okay? Because let's come back over here. How many times have you got a call from somebody and they're like, hey, it's Daryl Smith, how are you? Do you say, who is this? I don't know any Daryl Smith. Or do you say, I'm doing good, how are you? You instantly say that because your brain, that's a pattern interrupt, that person sounds like they are very familiar with you, like they know you, okay? So you wouldn't dare be rude to them and be like, who is this? That's because they're using a familiar tone. But if like, hi, is John there? Hey John, this is Daryl Smith with XYZ Company. The reason why I called was, monotone voice, sounds like a telemarketer, sounds like a salesperson. Your guard is up and you're like, who is this? Or is this a cold call? But I'm like, yeah, is John there? Yeah, John, hey, it's James, James Miller. I think we talked, what was it, about 3 or 4 months ago? You guys were looking to possibly blank so that you guys could blank. Did you guys, I think we had an appointment, but we didn't hear back. Did you guys give up on that, or what actually happened? Now that is a generic formula that I just used there, okay? So what you want to do, and I'll show you some ministry specific ones, is you want to act like, see, and here's the thing, I'm going to show you this here. When you're calling, okay, if you're calling on the phone, you can have papers here. And as you're talking this here, go like this, like you're looking through the papers where they can hear it. Do you know why? That's another example of a what? Pattern interrupt, okay? Their brain hears something in the background which triggers them to wonder what that is. Pattern interrupt, okay? All I'm doing is interrupting the pattern, okay? Yeah, it's Jeremy, Jeremy Miner. We getting back to you. I think we talked, I want to say it was, gosh, it might have been 2 or 3 months ago. You guys inquired about looking at getting possible help with your blank so that you guys could blank, but then we didn't hear back. Did you guys give up on that, or what actually happened? Now, you see how I did the papers there, okay? Did you see, now, what are these here? This is called, see those periods here? That is called a verbal pause. So when you're using a familiar tone, you have to pause between your first name and your first and last name, almost 1 second. Okay, we actually time this out. 0.09 is the right way, the best way. So you want to time this out. Yeah, it's Jeremy, Jeremy Miner, getting back to you. See, sounds like I'm familiar to you. So their brain it starts to think, who's Jeremy Miner, who's Jeremy Miner, how do I know this person, where do I meet them? So all it's doing is buying you more time. You triggered curiosity, okay? But if I go like this, hey James, it's Jeremy Miner, getting back to you. It looks like we did, see, too fast, you're not verbal pausing, you're not pacing out the question, you sound like a salesperson, okay? So let's say if I sold precious metals, and I think this is what I put in here about. We have a big company, maybe you're watching us right now, that I just did a big workshop for, one of our new clients out in California, big precious metals dealer. And let's say you didn't close them, had a couple conversations, they went AWOL, now you're calling them back 3 months later. Yeah, is John there? Yeah, hey John, it's Jeremy, Jeremy Miner with Preserved Gold, getting back to you. It looks like, gosh, I want to say we talked, when was it, 3-4 months ago? You guys were looking to possibly invest in gold so that you could kind of hedge with all the inflation going on, and then we didn't hear back. Did you guys give up on, protecting yourself against inflation, or what actually happened? Or I can shorten it. Did you guys give up on that, or what actually happened? Now, the important thing is here. Look, I'm not just saying you were talking to us because you were interested in buying gold or you were interested in my product or service. I'm repeating back the reason why, about possibly investing in gold so that you could, and then I repeat back the end result that they said. So if they said, if I'm in this industry, if they said to protect against inflation, I'm putting that back in there, and then I'm saying, did you guys give up on that, or what actually happened? It's hard for them to say, yes, we gave up on that. Now, they might come back and say, well, we decided to go with somebody else, or we decided now's not a good time. Oh, what caused you to feel that way? Just so I understand. And I can always, you can always get back to me later on. Remember, I'm selling the exit. Or I could say, oh, what caused you to feel that way? And just so you know, I've only got a few minutes before my next appointment anyways, but what caused you to feel that way? See, I'm always selling the exit, okay? Or I could say something like this. If they're like, oh, we decided just to push it down the road and kind of see what happens. Oh, okay, that's not a problem. You can always get back to us down the road. You've got my number, right? Okay, good. And hey, before we jump off, can I ask you something? Sure, go ahead. How can I communicate to you that you might be making a mistake without you getting upset with me? Well, no, we wouldn't get upset with you. What do you have in mind? Well, I'm concerned for you because what happens, and then I'm going to go into a consequence question. See how I set that up? Okay, see what it is? That's a consequence question, and then I go into another consequence question. How can I communicate to you that you might be making a mistake without you getting upset with me? It's going to be hard for them to say, no, you can't communicate that I might be making a mistake. I'm going to get upset. They're just not going to do that. Notice I'm neutral. You might be making a mistake, not you are making a mistake. You might be making a mistake. And then I put on there a double layer without you getting angry at me. Well, I'm not going to get angry without you getting upset with me. I'm not going to get upset with you. See what I'm doing there? I'm triggering that emotion back, okay? That's a pattern interrupt. Now, why am I shuffling the papers? Like I said, it just interrupts their pattern of their brain because it triggers curiosity because their brain can't help to think what you have in your hands. Where it's almost like, yeah, I think we talked, what was it, 3 or 4 months ago, you guys were, see, I'm acting, like right now they don't even know I'm a salesperson, right? It feels like I could be anybody calling them. I'm triggering curiosity because I'm slowing down. It's like I have a confused tone there. Not a confused tone like I'm 103 and I've got dementia confused, but confused like I'm not quite sure when we talked type of confused, okay?